Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I am so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 99th episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. And if you tuned in last week, which was all about anniversary trips, I told you that I was going to share with you my trip to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where Logan and I celebrated not only our 17th anniversary, but I got to attend my first ever Sandals Star Awards. So a little bit of history and some facts about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. If you're like me, this may be a destination you haven't heard of. It's not as common as, Dominican Republic and Jamaica, the Bahamas, even St. Lucia. If you listen to my podcast, you've heard me talk about multiple times by now. So where is it? What is it? What's special about this place? I had not heard of St. Vincent and the Grenadines until probably, I would say, maybe 2021, when there was a volcanic eruption in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that, because of the ash in the atmosphere, it impacted flights throughout the Caribbean, specifically St. Lucia, which is only 20 miles away. So we actually were going to St. Lucia for our 14th wedding anniversary in 2021. And we almost did not get to go because of the ash in the air from this volcano that erupted St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So then, fast forward 3 years later, it's almost ironic that that's where we spent for our anniversary trip. So it is a volcanic island. There are 32 small islands and keys, including the largest, which is St. Vincent, the main island. Only 9 of these are inhabited. Some are very small and have no one that lives there. It is famous for black sand beaches, which are beautiful. You feel like you're in Hawaii or Costa Rica with all of the black sand. I loved that, the contrast between the water, having a volcano in the background or mountains in the background and the black sand. You know about the active volcano known as La Soufriere. Friendly people. When I say friendly people, I think these are some of the friendliest people I have ever encountered in any of my travels throughout the Caribbean, in Europe, anywhere in the U.S. I would say, to me, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, imagine Mississippi in the Caribbean as far as people being so friendly and welcoming. And I got to meet the Minister of Tourism for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I told him, I said, I really think that coming from the hospitality state of the U.S., that I really feel like you guys are the hospitality island of the Caribbean. And he told me that he's always wanted to go to Mississippi. And I said, I think that we are sister destinations. And I do hope that he will come to Mississippi and visit us here, because I think that he will find very similar atmosphere when it comes to the people. Very vibrant coral reefs. So if you are a diver or a snorkeler, a hiker, you can actually hike to the crater of the volcano. If you like mountains and beach together in one destination, this is your place. We went to 2 islands in the Grenadines as well as the main island of St. Vincent, Bequia and Mustique, and both felt like what I imagined going to an exotic island would feel like. Like you have in your mind before you go somewhere, I want to go somewhere that is it feels like Robinson Crusoe, like a deserted island. That's the idea you get. And then you go to a place that might be way more commercialized than you realize. It's a lot of flight traffic. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not that. They don't even have daily flights in yet from the U.S., but they are getting them. So it's going to be easier to travel there than ever before. One reason St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I would say, is known as being one of the last true exotics is because it has been difficult to get there in the past. Their international airport had to actually relocate and chip away at a mountain to be able to make a runway long enough. And it actually opened on Valentine's Day a few years back. And so now they can have larger planes land that can come in nonstop from Miami. But before, you would have to go to a nearby island, whether it's Barbados or St. Lucia, and then take a smaller plane over. Or, there's some cruises that go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Not a lot, but there are some. And it's a very big yachting destination. So it was difficult to reach for everyone. They still want to focus on what they call soft tourism or slow tourism, where they don't want this to become a place where you're like, you can be in anywhere in the Caribbean. They want it to be clear where you are. They want to keep their identity and the things that make them special. They don't want to lose that. And I love that about this place. So it is still going to be one of those places that not everybody's coming at once. And if that's the type of traveler you are, or you want to be, like you want to go somewhere that's not going to have high-rise condos on the beach, right? This is not Cancun in the Caribbean. It's a completely different experience. This is not Nassau or Montego Bay. So there are going to be less people that can go at a time. But when you're there, you really feel like you're connected. Like there is a heartbeat to this place that is very evident when you go. And so I'm recommending all my clients to go. Maybe it's not your first trip to the Caribbean, because like I said, it's not the easiest to get to yet. There's going to be more air traffic coming in. We flew down to Miami the night before, and then we were able to have a nonstop flight the next day. We did a charter flight, but there are American Airlines flights that are in now, right now, 4 days a week, and that's going to be increasing. The airlift is increasing. Okay, other things about St. Vincent and the Grenadines and what you can do. It is a hot tropical climate year-round. They said the average is around 86 or 87 degrees, but I'm going to tell you this. Being a Mississippi girl who is used to humidity and, has seen her fair share of sun in Mississippi, the sun feels so much hotter there. You're in the Southern Caribbean. You're closer to the equator. It got hot. And we happened to be there during a drought. So it is almost outside the hurricane belt because it's so far south. Curacao, Aruba, Bonaire, those are outside the hurricane belt. It is really close. They can still get tropical storms. They are rare, but they can. So in the fall, like in the rainy season. But we went, it was hot. It was dry. It might have sprinkled just a little bit a couple of times, but they definitely had brought the heat. Tobago Keys is one of the places that I really want to go the next time that I travel there. It is going to be a UNESCO World Heritage Site soon. They said that the diving and the snorkeling there is just unreal. When we went to Mystique, this is the first time I've ever been just straight off the beach and was able to swim with sea turtles. I thought I was excited. You should have seen Logan. Logan loves turtles just about more than any living thing on this planet. I would say he probably does love turtles more than any living thing on this planet. So the fact that he just got to go right off the beach and snorkel with hawksbill sea turtles, he was done for the day. Like that's all he needed to do. And remind me next week when I talk about a very special episode of I Don't Want to Do That I'm going to bring that back up. We also went to, like I said, Bequia, which is another island in the Grenadines. Beautiful cliffs. Featured on International House Hunters. Like there's not a lot of ways that you can get there except for by boat or private planes. So the beaches were just incredible. We ate at a little restaurant right on the beach that was called Jack's. It was fantastic. Princess Margaret has a beach named for her because that's where she lived and where she liked to stay on the island. So it was just, the water was incredibly clear. You could see seashells in Mystique right off the beach, huge conch shells, just like I imagined I would see when I would go to the Caribbean, but don't always see. You can see whales there. We didn't when we were there, but they said it's not uncommon for whale watching. The island itself, St. Vincent, where did it get its name? Columbus named the island after the Spanish saint. So I thought that was very interesting. It also has the oldest botanical gardens in the entire Western Hemisphere, 1765. So lots of beautiful plants, and we just getting to drive the island. And when I say we drove that island, we went over the entire island, and it was gorgeous. Lots of winding roads. We went to a waterfall called Dark View Falls. I told you there's dramatic coastlines. We crossed a bamboo bridge. It felt like right out of Indiana Jones. So I loved this place because it was unique. And our arrival there, from the time we arrived and right off of we walked down the stairs of the plane and we had taxis waiting for us. They managed to expedite us through customs because we were there. We had the entire resort of Sandals St. Vincent rented just for our Star Awards. It was blocked off for that. We had a police escort through the capital town of Kingston, not to be confused with Kingston, Jamaica. Their capital in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is also Kingston. And so we got to see a lot of the island. If you arrive in the future, they're going to have an option for you to be able to go to the Sandals Resort via boat, which I definitely would recommend because, like I said, stunning cliffs. Another fun thing that I want to share, and we're almost finished, is that it is famous for pirates, both real, like actually landed there, and cinematic, like Captain Jack Sparrow. That's right. The first 3 movies of Pirates of the Caribbean were filmed in St. Vincent. And we got to go to one of the film sites and see the pictures on the wall. You could see in real life where they filmed Pirates of the Caribbean. And our tour guide, who was fantastic, talked about how when he was a kid, he and his friends, they would actually go and be able to watch from a distance when they would come and they would film the movies. So that was a really great experience. I think what makes this place special is not only the beauty, not only feeling like you're, surrounded by mountains and that you're like this final frontier in the Caribbean is what it feels like, but the people, like I said, like the food was incredible. We got to taste so many local dishes where I really feel like I got to experience that island in a way that I sometimes don't when I go to a place. When you go to an all-inclusive and you don't leave the resort, sometimes you can't really experience what that island has to offer. So I do recommend getting off property. And we did that twice, both when we went our day in the Grenadines where we took a catamaran and our day where we took a bus and went all over the island. So I really feel like that is one of the places where you want to experience things off property for sure. That is all the time we have this week for Talk Travel with Heather Tate. Thank you for tuning in. If St. Vincent and the Grenadines sounds like a place that you would like to know more about, then join us on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate, Whimsical Destinations. I have tons of pictures and videos from our trip here for our anniversary a few weeks ago, and I'd love to share them with you and to help you plan your own adventure. Remember, life is short. Take the trip. Make those memories. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcast, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.